position. But listening to you, Mike, when you came on to the show, and it made me think a little differently. I was just like, okay, he is trying to change the culture. I mean, no other coach before him actually tried it. Okay, he is literally trying to change the. He's literally telling you right now, we're running the fucking ball. Period.
Boom.
He literally every action that he's done, he's telling you we're gonna punch you in the mouth. We're gonna play football this year. And that's all Cowboy fans want. We want a little toughness, a little identity. And our coach is basically telling you what we're going to do. So in that express, Mike, I am slowly coming around to the head coach. I didn't say I was all the way there yet. I hadn't turned the leaf like you did on Dak. That's another story. But I am slowly coming there with our head coach.
And hey, action. Mike McCarthy lied to us in the first 5 minutes of his press conference.
Yeah, he did.
Schottenheimer has not lied to me yet. Now, if we go out against the Eagles and only run the ball 15 times, he lied to me. Right? He lied to me.
Yeah.
Daddy Savage, what's up, brother?
Nothing. Chilling. I apologize. I saw your text late. I apologize.
No, don't need to apologize. We're here. This is the corner of Crazy and Cowboys. Is talking crazy.
Yeah, they talking crazy tonight. Oh, yeah. Danny, you ain't missing nothing.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, but check this out, Savage. And I know you don't drink the Schottenheimer Kool-Aid, so I don't got to ask you the two-faced question here. So I'll just get right down to it. What does Schottenheimer have to do for Danny Savage to drink that Kool-Aid?
I know it's a tough toll, and it's been 30 years of nothing, but I'll say it once and I'll say it again. When you're a Dallas Cowboy, you have one standard, and that's the Super Bowl ring. Nothing else. Nothing else matters. You win the Super Bowl, or your season was a failure. There's no moral victories in football. There's no moral victories in life. There's no moral victories in a fight on the street. You win the Super Bowl, or the season was a failure. And I know that's big to throw on somebody, especially coming from Jerry and his 30 years of just, doing the same thing over and over again. But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even think, me personally, I don't even think a good coach wants to come to Dallas anymore because they don't want to deal with the Joneses. And they pick their own yes men. We'll find out. We'll find out this year, but I don't know, man. It's tough.
Okay. So G Hampton told me to calm down. Everybody's saying Cowboys corners talking crazy, which I might be. No, but look, here's my stance. All right, here's my stance. This is maybe I didn't explain myself good enough the first time. Let me. Whoosah. All right, check this out.
Yeah.
I understand that this is the underwear Olympics, but when I look at the results that I have so far, I can only grade what happens up until now, right? I understand that we still have training camp. We still got another portion of mini camp to go, and then we still got training camp. We still got preseason. We still got a long way to go. Yeah. But if I got a list and I'm checking off this list, all right, higher, Brian Schottenheimer. I like Big Fella said, wasn't a fan at first, right? Now Schottenheimer tells me we're going to run the ball. Oh, okay. Clayton Adams did. Okay, now boom, 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 boom. When I say that Cowboys have done what much more for Schottenheimer in these short months than they ever have for Mike McCarthy, here's why. We needed a wide receiver last year. They got Jonathan Mingo. We needed a wide receiver this year. They got George Pickens. There's a difference. We needed a running back last year. They got Ezekiel Elliott. We needed a running back this year. They go get Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Jadon Blue, Phil Maffa. They put more eggs in a basket for the running back room instead of Jerry saying at the press conference, I still feel like Zeke is a starting running back. They put more eggs for Schottenheimer and letting him get Clayton Adams here, letting him get Connor Riley here, Let him get George Pickens here. These running backs. Boom, boom, boom. Mike's right. Mike is right. We need a defensive tackle. To me, I think the offense is set. That's how I feel. George Pickens. Can we make the argument for number 3? Put Turpin in there. Does Jalen Tolbert, does he play better as a number 3 and not having to try to be a number 2, right? How does that look? But right now, if I'm checking off boxes, everything to me looks like it's an A+. Looks like it's an A+ for me.
But it's like the Pickens move does not make sense because you're giving up a 3 and a 5 for 17 games. For 17 games, to me, that's an all-in approach. Yet we are in a rebuilding mode. So all I'm trying to say is we have George Pickens, a 3 and a 5, and I could rattle off, we got to pay Micah, got to pay Tyler Smith, got to pay Jake Ferguson, got to pay Deron Bland, got to play the highest paid kicker in the NFL. Is our fan base that delusional that they think we're going to have the highest paid player at every single position? It's comical. It was a waste of a 3 and a 5. As of next year, we only have 5 draft picks.
So, Danny, real quick, Danny. So when you say maybe next year would be a rebuilding season, because no, we will not be able to keep all these players. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's no way we can do it. So I look at this. I'm trying to figure out when you say we rebuilding, at what position? I mean, to me, when I think about rebuilding, that means you got a new quarterback coming in with your new coach. You got a lot of missing pieces. But I think we got, as far as this offensive side of the ball, I really think it's more solidified. Maybe a little work on defense, but I don't see the rebuilding this year, but I can see maybe a rebuilding next year because, like you mentioned, all the players we have to play, and I'm sure we probably won't be able to keep all of them. So
I think we need 2 safeties right off the bat, 2 linebackers right off the bat. That's 4. We need another giant in the middle. I'm up to 5 or 6. Our 2 defensive ends are 6'2", 250 pounds that are going to get run over for. So that's about Danny. 7. And now let's go to the offensive side of the ball. Let's be honest. Let's be completely honest. On the offensive side of the ball, we have a lot of question marks with both tackles. We have a question mark with Jake Ferguson. We don't know if he was hurt, he regressed, or he missed Dak that he was regressed. But as the team looks right now, offensively, okay, running back and wide receiver, but every other position you can, you know what I'm trying to say? You can get it. And I just don't see, does any of our fans think we're close enough to win the Super Bowl to give up a 3 and a 5 for Pickens? So basically next year when we have 5 picks, then we're going to rebuild. Like, it's just, but Jerry, that's why. Jerry's a brilliant. The fans wanted to pay Dak. He paid him.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say the fans want, some fans. I wouldn't say
a lot of fans want Bland.
A lot of fans wanted him.
Pay him. Fans want Micah paid. He's going to pay him. But him paying him doesn't include us winning. It's just the way he plays the salary cap game. I'm just saying, to give up a 3 and I'm a big draft guy. That's why it bothers me more. But to give up a 3 and a 5 for 17 games schedule, you only do that when you're 1 player away to get you over that mountaintop. This is a 4-year rebuild. Let's be honest. We had the offensive line.
Hold on. Go ahead, big fella.
Okay. I was concerned with the Cowboys in the offseason because it seemed like they weren't in the fight in the East because everybody kept improving their team except for the Cowboys. And we all said this going into the to the year last year, the Cowboys needed a running back. But they started that committee shit. And then they finally gave the ball to Rico and saw what happened. Okay. So we going into the season this year. We said we need a receiver. We thought we was going to get a receiver in the draft. We didn't. So, big fella went crazy on TikTok talking shit about the organization. And what did Jerry do? He go get you a receiver. Okay. Now we're talking about money and draft picks. I don't give a shit about that right now. All I care about is 13 to 14 wins, us getting in the playoffs, us getting to the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. I can care less about the future right now because everything we asked for, he did go do.
And that's why when we lose, he sits back in his booth and laughs his ass off.
We've been
30
losing.
years of nothing.
We've been
30
losing.
years of nothing, yet we're the highest ranked franchise in the world. Doesn't that tell you something?
Danny,
Everything Jerry touches turns to gold, except
this
a Dallas thing.
This is my thing. What do you want him to do? He did exactly what we asked, okay? Because we wanted this. Only thing that we asked that, of course, Cowboy Corner disagree with was the quarterback position. Okay,
Let me ask you a quick question. One quick question. Would you rather have George Pickens or Ndamukong Suh at defensive tackle in the middle of the line?
I'd rather have
George Pickens. You want old Ndamukong Suh?
At this point, Ndamukong Suh is not, but
okay, and let me tell you,
If you even say that, I'm good. You don't have to answer no more.
He was good. He was good in Nebraska. He was good his first 4 years in the league, and he didn't do anything else after that. His name made him all pros. Ndamukong Suh George
I'm
Pickens.
not saying Ndamukong Suh now. I'm saying Ndamukong Suh when he was in his prime.
Still George Pickens. George Pickens.
Okay, listen, do me a favor.
Why would you time out? Why would you bring? How does that scenario make sense in this team right now in 2025?
Because the team need a giant defensive tackle to stop the run is much more.
So bring me a current defensive tackle that makes sense now in 2025 instead of a 10-year ago has been.
So
I think he's talking about talent. He's talking about talent, though. I think Danny's just talking about
Pickens than Ndamukong Suh in his prime.
That makes no sense to this scenario. That's a big hypothetical.
He's just telling us what the fans wanted, and Jerry got him. So
you want Ndamukong Suh to go in a time machine and play for the Cowboys this year?
I said that. If Ndamukong Suh was in his prime versus George Pickens now. Next question, Dallas Cowboy Chris. How many games have you watched of George Pickens? How many games?
I can honestly tell you every one, and let me tell you why. Because my best friend is a diehard Steeler fan. So we watch games together. So I've seen every game George Pickens has played, okay? In the NFL, not in college, in the NFL. And I literally told him this last year, literally out my mouth. Give me George Pickens on the Cowboys right now. Give him to me. I said it to him. I want him because they would throw him the ball.
But you don't think he runs lazy routes? You don't think he quits on routes?
No.
You don't think that or no?
No.
He did with the Steelers, man. It was
he cleaned it up though.
Did you see the Steelers offense last year? Okay, I did. So let me explain it to you. This is what the Steelers did. Run. Oh, it's long distance. Hey, let's try to throw a lob ball to George Pickens, and then if he don't catch it, oh, he's lazy. Come on, bro.
I'm glad you just said that. Has Dak ever been a 50-50 throw the ball up in the air?
Never.
He only time he was.
Hold on, one at a time.
He is when he had Dez, because Dez was a 50-50.
He and Dez could never get on the same page. He and Dez never got on the same page.
Older Dak is going to get on a page.
No. Listen. Number one, not only that, though, guys, we got to look at Mike McCarthy's offense. It was outdated. It was terrible.
True.
I mean, how are you going to throw a 50-50 ball when the man don't have enough time to throw the ball downfield? I mean, it was terrible. And I was a big candidate for Mike McCarthy, but we saw what happened, that the game has changed. and his offense was stale. It was outdated. So we couldn't expect him to throw a 50. And we're talking about we're trying to put Brandon Cook as an outsider. He's a slot receiver. What 50-50 ball is Brandon Cook going to get out as the Z receiver? It's not going to happen. Now you got a true number one receiver playing on the opposite side of CeeDee Lamb. Now, more than likely, that's more of a threat. When Brandon Cook played the wide out, they didn't respect that. They still double team CeeDee. Now, say what you want, say what you may, but I guarantee you, George Pickens is definitely going to be a threat for this offense. That's just my take on it. I understand what you're saying, but now you can throw the 50-50 ball.
Well, hold on. Was George Pickens the number one guy over there, or was he a number two guy?
He was the number one guy.
He was the number one.
Oh, he's gonna thrive over here because we're not asking him to be the number one guy.
You got
here.
two number ones.
Right. We're not asking George Pickens to be number one over here. The weight off the shoulder is not there for Pickens. So that's even better.
Yeah. Exactly.
Go ahead, Eshaun.
No, the only thing about look, I like getting George Pickens, man, but I didn't watch him enough with the Steelers to comment about that, whether he quit on routes or whatever. I just think, man, I like Pickens, but like I said earlier, I just don't like getting 1-year players, man. I just don't think you can consistently build a team like that. That's just me as it pertains to George Pickens on that side of things. And yeah, so I mean, that's it really. I mean, I like the move. I don't know how it'll make Dak better. I'm not saying it won't make it better, and it definitely improves our chances on offense. But for 17 games, I just don't know how lucrative a move like that is if you're only going to get him for one season. That's just
so. Let me ask this question real quick. So, how much different is this when we brought in, let's say, Deion Sanders? How much different is it when we brought in Ken Norton? How much different is we brought in big players back? The reason I like it because it's a splash. It's a splash move.
We never brought in Ken Norton. He left us to go to the San Francisco.
Not Ken Norton. Let's go with Charles Haley. That's what I meant to say. Charles Haley.
We sent a second and a 5th round draft pick.
But again, it was a big splash when we did what we did. And we got results out of it. I understand what you
guys are really going to compare Charles Haley to George Pickens.
No, we're not comparing, bro.
We compared. Guys want George Pickens over Ndamukong Suh.
These are instances. These are instances.
Hold on. Savage. Savage.
True.
Did you want a number 2 wide receiver on this team or not? Yes or no? Simple yes or no.
I would want everything number 1 on this team. Yes.
No. Not number 1, number 2. Did we need a number 2 wide receiver on the team? Yes or no?
Yes, but we had bigger needs.
Okay,
we had bigger needs. That's all I'm saying. Yo, we have like
it's his opinion, y'all. I mean, y'all get up off of Danny.
Opinion. But we have 30 guys on this team on a 1-year contract, and you're making moves like. Bro, I'm going to laugh when Dallas is the last place in the NFC East this year.
Why would you laugh? Are you a Cowboys fan? Why would you laugh?
Because our fan base. Listen, when I went and started this whole YouTube thing, I realized why Dallas Cowboy fans are the most hated fans in the world, because they could have signed a guy with an 82-year-old man with a broken leg, and they'd say, "Yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl." They're just
he's right. That's us. Yeah,
true. Cowboy fans are not realistic. Dak Prescott can throw 4 interceptions. Nobody will say a word.
I don't know. Wait a minute. I don't say that
not
now.
all of us, but like 99%.
Not all of us, but most of the
Dallas YouTubers will say it. He could do no good. Look, how about Boss Man Fats? He killed a girl this morning, man.
You talking about drive-by?
Well, yeah, he has 2 souls on his conscience. Yeah, he has 2 souls on his conscience. But look, and I'll let Mike go after this. Mike's been quiet. I know Mike got something to bring to the table here. What I can only go off year by year. I don't want to go off scenarios of Mike Dick, like Mike Ditka playing for the Cowboys in 2025, right? I don't want to go off that scenario. What I do want to go off of is what's happening now. We needed a number 2 wide receiver. We got the number 2. Do we like the compensation? I don't know. If he leaves in 2027, we'll get the comp pick back. We have 5 draft picks now. We'll get some comp picks next year for the free agency that just left. It's a cycle on how the Cowboys do it. Right now, we're looking at the 5 draft picks as if that matters right now. That doesn't do anything for me. I don't even know what we're picking at next year. Are we picking number 1 overall? Are we picking number 32? Are we picking in the middle? Draft picks to me are irrelevant right now because I don't even know where I'm picking. So what I can go off of is what I'm looking at right now. And what I'm looking at right now is we need an O-line. We got Tyler Booker and Cornelius. We need a running back. We go get Jadon Blue and Phil Maffa. The only thing that they haven't addressed right now, and Mike has been pounding his fist on the table, sending super chat to super chat, is defensive tackle.
Exactly.
That's what they haven't got yet. And that's what we need. And as I said yesterday on Freaky Friday, you can't convince me that Mazi is the best player at that position. And Matt Eberflus, if he watched all the tape and done his job, if Brian Schottenheimer watched all the tape and did his job, they know for a fact that Mazi Smith is not the best player right there. So are they having meetings? Are they having discussions? Is there somebody else? Is there a sneaky need in the last 2 draft picks that we got in those big guys, right? Is there something there that replaces Mazi right now? It better be. They better have something there because if they don't do their job, it's only going to hurt them and it's going to be insanity. We took care of multiple things, but we still got a glaring need at us, and that is the running game. And you know what's crazy? Brian Broaddus on 105.3 The Fan said Malik Hooker was graded the best run stopper for the Cowboys last year.
Brian Broaddus,
72 grade, and that was PFF. That's ridiculous. So this running game on the defense side of the ball has to be addressed. Go ahead, Mike.
So I think the George Pickens trade was a very good trade. It takes the pressure off of CeeDee Lamb. And going back to what we said about the draft picks, I would not be surprised if Trayvon Diggs gets traded after this season. There's the news saying, oh, he quit on the team, this or that. I don't think Trayvon quit on the team, but the problem is he's really getting up there in age. He's like, 26, 27 right now. He's going to be 28 next year. And I just feel like, it's almost time to trade him. Injuries are just piling up with him. And I think if we trade Trayvon, I think we can compensate for some draft picks for him. Maybe trade him for like a second, third round pick, maybe. It does suck because I like Trayvon Diggs, but I just don't think he's going to get any better. So that's kind of my take on all that.
if you get a 6 for Diggs, you're lucky. Nobody's trading for an injured quarterback with $100 million salary. You're lucky to get a 6 or a 7.
Whoa. Trayvon Diggs is at the end of his contract. Right now, he's only on the books for $11 million. If he can get cleared and he can play healthy up between week 1 and to the trade deadline, he could be a trade candidate pending how Chevelle looks, how Elam looks, how Ben looks. So there could be something there.
But that still puts us past what we have to do with the Deron Bland situation. Are we gonna wait? Are we gonna let Deron Bland walk and then wait for those things hopefully to happen?
No, you don't. No, I'm talking. I just said the deadline, so I'm talking this year.
Well, this season, once the last play of the season, Deron Bland is an unrestricted free agent.
Right. But no, what I said was between when Diggs gets healthy between week 1 and the trade deadline. You might be able to get something if he can stay healthy between now and then, and depending on how he's playing. If you wanted to get out of that contract, it's only $11 million, and next year it's only the same amount. We're at the tail end of that $100 million contract.
Now we all know Goodell loves beating us Cowboys. You know he loves that. What do you think Goodell's thinking? I bet Trayvon pissed in a cup this morning after that boat ride with about 6 ounces of purple powder in it. What about that? You know that's a suspension coming up. They ain't saying it's quick chocolate personnel, mix. We all know what it was. And he gets caught with that on a boat with 4 girls behind him. Had to be
if he's suspended, it'd probably be a 6-game suspension. He should be back in between the trade deadline. Who knows what's going on? But hey, check this out.
Yeah.
Check this out. Moving on. We talked about George Pickens. We talked about Brian Schottenheimer. Let's talk about Micah Parsons here, guys. Micah Parsons, the Lion, it's looking like, and I'm just projecting, I don't know what Micah's going to do. None of us does. But it looks like he's going to show up for minicamp. Does Micah show up for training camp without a contract? Do you guys, as fans of Micah Parsons, or not a fan of Micah Parsons, just speaking to the player in general, Eshaun, I'll start with you. Does Micah Parsons, does he deserve to hold out, or should he be there? Go ahead.
I mean, will he be there? If he doesn't have a contract by then, I don't think he'll show up to training camp, to be completely honest, just from a standpoint. And honestly, if I was in his position, I wouldn't either. I mean, I have no problem for players getting their money. I have my issues with Micah Parsons. Corey and Savage, you guys know that I have a lot of issues with him. But if I were in his position, I would also get my money. I mean, Jerry has a history of prolonging these things. So, and waiting until the 11th hour to break the bank with these guys. So, do I think that he will? I think he will get signed. The number. I mean, it's anybody's guess at this point. But I do think that if it doesn't happen by training camp, maybe not the entire training camp, not a Zeke situation with Kyle Cabo, but he'll probably miss some time. Is my guess if he doesn't have the contract by then. That's my guess.
All right. What about you, G. Hampton?
Personally, I wouldn't give a shit if he didn't show up.
Okay.
Because listen, and the reason I say that, they're gonna have to pay the man.
They're gonna pay him.
They gotta pay him. Listen, you can pay him now, you're gonna pay him later. You're gonna have to pay the best player on the team. Say what you want, say what you may. He is the best player on this team. So regardless, if he shows up, great. He's been a team player. He said he plans on showing up. And if he doesn't show up, great. But again, Jerry has created this mess. Jerry's gonna have to fix the mess. So no, I'm not worried. But like I said, at the end of the day, pay him now or pay him later.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I agree.
Savage.
This is why I said we never should have paid Zach Martin 2 years ago, because Zach Martin was under contract, stood out. Everybody was pay the man, pay the man, pay the man. We paid him. The same guys that said pay the man bitched and moaned that CeeDee Lamb shouldn't be sitting out. He should be out there. But wait a second. It's okay for you to say Zach Martin, who fleeced the team. That's a whole nother story. You stay out. You deserve it. Then they bitch on Lamb. So now, if I'm Micah, I'd be stupid to go to camp without getting my contract.
Yeah, exactly.
It's past, present. You've set the tone of guys that want to get paid. All you got to do is sit out enough weeks, and they'll pay you. And he would be stupid to go in without the contract. He would be stupid.
The big fella, Stop 6 Texas, Micah Parsons.
I'm afraid to answer because it's all doom and gloom on this side of the board.
Hey, man, be honest.
Hey, G said it the best. It really don't matter. I care less. He can be there. He can come in the stadium an hour before kickoff in the first game. I wouldn't give a shit. I mean, I can care less because, hey, and let me preface this. Last year, before Micah got hurt, I was that proponent, man. Let's trade Micah. Let's get everything we can get for him, because I thought his mouth was talking too much and he wasn't performing like he should. And when Micah came back off of that injury last year, and everybody knew we wasn't making the playoffs, but that boy played like his hair was on fire every snap. And it made me change my whole perspective on Micah Parsons. So now it's up to the Cowboys, like G said. Jerry created this problem, okay? He could have solved a lot of these issues by signing these guys early. You knew what you could have done with the remainder of your money, but he didn't. He likes the 11th hour.
Yeah.
So he's going to do the same thing with Micah. Of course, we all know Micah's going to be the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. We know this, okay? And that's just something that the Cowboys got to deal with. But as fans, I'm happy number 11 is on my team, okay? Because at first I was like, get rid of his ass. He's talking too much. But that boy play on the field is nothing like it, man. And I'm not calling him fucking LT, nothing like that. He's Michael Parsons.
Yeah.
Right.
He ain't LT, he's Michael Parsons. And there's only one number 11. And I want him with that star on his helmet. So I don't give a damn what Jerry got to do.
Real quick, check out the last 4 years stats of Darius Slay and Micah Parsons.
A corner and a DN?
Of Darius Slay.
Darius Slay is a linebacker. He played for the Jets and in Philadelphia.
Darius Slay is a corner.
Wait, Darius Slay's a cornerback. What's the
Right. Darius Slay's a corner.
Who's the guy that the Jets got rid of when he went to Philadelphia? Defensive end. Small kids, about the same size.
You're
as
talking about
Bryce
what's his name? They tried.
Oh,
Philadelphia tried to. They tried to mock. They
yeah.
tried to mock Micah. What's his name? He about the same size as Micah. He didn't pan out. He's not a Micah. Come on, somebody knows his name. What's his name? Reddick.
Hassan Reddick.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, Hassan Reddick. Okay.
Look up Hassan Reddick stats versus Micah's stats. the
Yeah,
last
versus
few
Dak
years.
Prescott stats now.
G,
That's like
can,
what you bet.
can you give whatever's in your cup back to him? I don't know
I speak the truth. You don't want to lie.
I was like, Darius Slay's a corner, Savage. I didn't know what the heck was going on. But all right. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so I think Micah, we need to extend Micah as soon as possible. It's so annoying that we always wait till the last second to sign our players, and then it cripples us, and then it cripples the cap for the future.
Yeah.
Because we don't forget, we also need to sign Deron Bland. I think Deron Bland is going to be franchise tagged, but we need to extend Micah as soon as possible. I think Micah deserves his money. I know I've kind of been critical about his podcast and all that, but I think he's still a great player, and I definitely think he deserves his money. And I hope that he remains with the Cowboys for a long time. But like I said, it's just so annoying that we always wait till the last minute to sign our players. It's the Jerry Jones way of doing things.
And it's smart because Jerry Jones makes, by not doing it,
Exactly.
Dallas is in the news every single day,
It's headlines.
and
It's
then
business.
he signs them at the last second.
Yeah, there's a reason he
All
does
right.
it with every player.
It's all about
So
being
I-
the brand.
So I pulled up Hassan Reddick's stats. He's been in the league since 2017. Micah has had double-digit sacks in his first 4 years. Hassan Reddick in his first 4 years he's had 2.5 his rookie year, 4 in 2018, 1 sack in 2019, 12.5 sacks in the COVID year of 2020. Then he goes to the Cardinals. He goes to Carolina, has 11 sacks, 16 sacks, 11 sacks, and then last year he had 1 sack.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
there's a spurt in there
Yeah, he's
of
Michael
1, 2, 3, 4 years.
There's a 4 year.
But I'm getting at is if that 3-year spurt was on the Dallas Cowboys, we'd be calling him the Michael Parsons.
No, we would not.
No.
Dude,
A lot of our fan base would. A lot of our fan base would.
He's proven it every year he's been here. He's proved he's the best defensive player in the league.
You're joking, right?
Yeah, one
So
year.
You
one
rather
year.
you rather have Micah than Myles Garrett?
I would have. Yes.
Man, no,
Yo,
I
I'm
can't.
sorry
I never
about
happened
that.
that. I'm sorry.
They're two
No,
different
Jake,
positions.
I'm
They play
sorry
two
about
different positions, bro.
I can't listen. I'd rather go talk outside with the bag lady. I can't handle this, man.
Yeah.
She may have more
Listen,
knowledge
the
than me.
second you said you rather have George Pickens over Ndamukong Suh,
Well, yes,
conversation
right
is
now
over
I
for me,
would
man.
because Ndamukong Suh is making TikToks with his wife and been retired for 2 years.
I
And
said
George
when,
Pickens
I
is in
said
the league.
when they were in their prime.
So yeah,
But that hypothetical is crazy though.
In their- well, because we need a defensive tackle, I could throw 1,000 other defensive tackles. I just threw out a very good defensive tackle.
I fucking love this
And he
show.
was
Man.
holding. I rather
it's
have
talking crazy. It is talking crazy.
I
ain't it?
fucking love the show, man. This is
Exactly.
nuts. Oh man.
So what no one is talking about so far is that Micah disappears in the playoffs. That's another huge issue I have with him.
That
He
is
has-
a huge issue I have.
Yeah, he has one sack against the Tampa Bay. Outside of that, what has he done in the playoffs?
What has he done in the second set? What has he done in the second half of the season?
True.
He wears down and towards the end of the season. That's been his problem.
He's
Yeah,
hunched
he's an
over like he's
incredibly
eating
talented
bad trim. Like he's eating
Yeah.
bad trim.
He's an
Yeah,
incredibly talented
I
player.
could pull up a lot of clips
So
of
y'all didn't see
Micah.
him at all last year at the end of the season. Y'all,
I can see a lot of. I can pull up a lot of clips of Micah giving up on plays, having his hands on his waist, hung over like he's tired.
Hold on.
Looking for that flag. Our fan base thinks that Micah Parsons is the only player in the history of the NFL that gets holding penalties, but he just stops when he gets holding
Love the hand
holding
corner.
penalties.
Oh man.
Well, but here's the problem with holding penalties, though. And there's a difference between Dez at the end of his career looking for PIs and Micah looking for holding. Micah has one holding call in the last 2 years on him. Do you think that's right, Savage? Do you think the referees have got that right?
The referees, I've said this for a million years, the referees always screw us. If we
Okay.
don't beat someone by 10 points, we can never have a close game because we know we're gonna get killed by the penalty, by the refs at some point.
So
That
what?
trickles down from Goodell.
So knowing that, wouldn't that be fair for us Cowboy fans or Micah to say, dude, I'm fucking getting held here? Like, when the fuck are we gonna start throwing flags? I got one in 2 years.
Okay, I get that, but did Charles Haley get flagged? And Charles Haley got held, right? DeMarcus Ware got held. Did anyone see them stopping?
Do they have the track record? Well, the play's already done. Once you're getting held, you're already 6 yards, 7 yards from the play already.
He does it in the middle of plays sometimes too, though, Carter.
Thank you.
You have seen it.
Thank you.
Like he's an incredibly talented player.
You know, when we played up against Green Bay, it was like the first drive. He took himself out.
Look, he's
Then
an incredibly
the
talented player.
next day, he said he had one tackle, 3 hurries. The next day, he said, I
He played
played
well. He
good.
played well.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, you said he played
I
well.
played good. Someone in that locker room should bust his fucking jaw. How about that?
Okay, well, who did this when went on national TV like Tank Lawrence and said that we was fucking tired and
He should have been cut that day.
Yeah.
Now,
He
see,
should have been cut.
One at a time. Go ahead, big fella.
this is what I'm saying. Okay, we know Micah has his flaws, right? But like I said, watch every game he came back after the injury. And then if y'all want to blame on stat, you focusing on stats. He is changing the game. He was the only pass rush we had on the whole defense last year. The
I'm
only
not worried
person.
about stats.
No,
Stats
you
at all.
won't
brought
let
up
me finish. You won't let me finish.
True.
He is the only pass rusher the Cowboys had on defense last year. The only one. So when you go and you say he didn't get many stats, dude, he is getting double, triple teams and held, and nobody else is creating pressure. But then you still want to blame him for not getting to the quarterback. We always talk about this team game shit, but you always go back to the individual. What are the other individuals on defense that can get to the quarterback other than Micah Parsons?
I would be happy with Micah just stuffing the run.
But he's not a run stopper. He's not a run stopper. That was DeMarcus Lawrence's job.
How do you think Micah Parsons is versus
No,
the
hold
run?
on, Danny, hold on. So hold on, stop. We got to stop because They both have different roles. That's why they had DeMarcus Lawrence on that strong side. He was the run container. You had Micah as the pass rusher. That's just the way that was. Yeah, like you said, like Big Fella said himself, they triple and they double teamed him to where when they ran at him, it made him look bad. Again, man, we can keep going round and round about this.
He took over for Tank Lawrence's spot, who was stopping the run. And then we put Micah there. And if you're a big physical tackle, Micah, he gets the shit slapped out of him.
Well, he's 6'2". He's 6'2", man.
Okay, if there's a video out there, he's working out with Myles Garrett. Micah Parsons looks like a safety on Ozempic next to Myles Garrett.
Here's the deal. No, Danny. Okay, hold him up, bro. Hold him up. We're talking about an individual that was linebacker in college, but he was gifted enough to play the edge. We can't take that away from him because he's gifted enough to play two positions. And just so happened Dan Quinn decided to, hey, let's use him at defensive end. Not saying that that's his primary spot, but he became good at what he was doing. So why knock a linebacker that can play defensive end and get 14 sacks? I mean, dude, I understand it's all our opinion, but to knock Parsons around like you're doing, I don't think it's fair on Parsons' part. I really don't.
So you think it's cool when he says after
I'm not worried about what he said. I'm not worried about what he's saying, Danny. Danny, I'm not worried about what he's saying. I want to see the actions on the field. And the man, and we've been seeing him hold his hand up because that right there lets you know how good of a player he is. When he's being held at least 40% of the time throughout the game or throughout the season, there's a problem. He's a problem.
Alabama nailed it 1,000%. Alabama offered Micah a scholarship. They wanted Micah to play running back. And I've said this from day one. Micah was a defensive player playing with the mentality of a running back. Alabama, Saban hit it right on the head with him, bro. And you want to laugh?
What's your point?
What's my point? Yeah. If you don't think that you have to have two different personalities to play offense versus defense, I can't help that if you never played or coached.
But he has 52 sacks in 4 years. Is that not an accomplishment for you, Savage?
I thought our goal was to win the Super Bowl.
But we're talking about Michael. No. You can't swerve like that in this conversation. Okay, we're talking about individual players.
52 sacks. When we're playing the Jets and it's 45-0 in the pouring rain, and there's 4 minutes left in the game, and he's on the field looking for garbage sacks.
No. You can't swerve. You can't swerve into that, Sam. I'm not going to let you swerve into that. You just said he's a defensive guy with the offensive mentality. So I brought up the point of 52 sacks. You can't go back into an individual game. You can't swerve like that.
Okay, no, I'm not going to swerve. I'm going to throw one back because me and you both agree on this one. Tell me, except besides a Thursday night game where DeMarcus Ware ever had a sack that meant anything. Now,
that's just 2009 against the Saints.
Mention when did Micah Parsons ever have a sack? When did Micah Parsons ever have a sack when it meant something?
Against the Chiefs in 2021, but
outside the Bengals game, we had that stupid punt mishap. Micah Parsons gave everything he had in that Bengals game, and Micah was a disruptor in that game. And we lost that game last year because of the guy wanted to touch the damn ball. Micah was a destroyer in that game. He was. You can't argue that.
No, yeah, in that game, yeah, I'm not saying anything about that.
This is
in big games, though. I just don't think he's shown up. But he's a talented player.
The Bengals game wasn't a big game. The Cowboys season was hanging on by a thread, and the guy and Micah was in there doing his job, and then a muff punt decided.
Yeah, next play touchdown.
I'm giving you that game. I'm not saying anything about that game.
Okay, real quick, T.J. Watt. No, J.J. Watt. I was getting confused. The Texan. Him in his prime versus Michael. Who would you take?
He's hypothetical to make me laugh, man.
I'd say J.J. Watt.
I'm asking the big man in the middle.
Well, you're the same guy that said Zach Martin was fleeced the Cowboys, so I don't know how to answer this. Since I would go with who I like better. I would go with Micah. It's just my opinion. Micah. Now, don't get me wrong. JJ is a first. TJ, JJ, AJ, EB, ABC.
Lakers in 5.
He gonna be in the Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Fame player. So let's do this. Yeah, since he's gonna be a Hall of Fame player, I'm gonna say TJ Watt for your satisfaction and your hat.
So you say because I said Zach Martin fleeced them. Name me one player from the Great Wall. I'll give Zach 1992 over John Geeson, the right guard. Who in 94 or 95, 93 and 95, who does Zach Martin start over on the Great Wall of Dallas? Name me one offensive lineman.
Gogan, because Gogan played guard.
Gogan played offensive tackle.
He started at tackle. They moved him to guard. Eric Williams was the right tackle. Center. And Nate Newton was the other guard, and Tourné was the other guard. I'm an offensive lineman. Shit, I know.
Bro, no. Well, actually, Tourné was a defensive lineman for 5 years.
You won't answer. You keep deflecting. You asked me a question. Yeah. I answered the question, and then you want to deflect. No, bro. Look, bro. This is why I don't come on talking crazy, because I get too razzle dazzled. I apologize.
Bro, if there was a national poll of 1 million sports fans, and they asked you the same question I would do, you would be the only one.
So hold on, time out. So hold on. No, so what was the name you gave, big fella?
Gogan.
Okay, Savage, your question was, he answered the question. So what do you say about Martin starting over Gogan?
What about 1995?
No. You answered the question. He answered the question.
Absolutely.
So does Zach Martin start over Gogan?
He doesn't.
Why not?
At all.
Why not?
Gogan was 6. Gogan was 6. That don't mean nothing, man. Kelsey's going to go in the Hall of Fame because they want all the Swifties there. See, the fact that you just brought up the Hall of Fame is a joke. Yo, everyone's saying Aaron Donald is generational.
Well, hold on, time out.
He's going to be a first inductee.
Where are we going with this?
I'm trying to talk to him.
Where the fuck are we going with this?
Because he's talking about the Hall of Fame. I have more respect for the WWE Hall of Fame. Steve McMichael had to wait 35 years to get into the Hall of Fame. Donaldson's going to go first ballot. Who are we trying to appease? The young crowd. Joe Klecko, defensive lineman, all pro with 3 different positions, waited 35 years to get in. But Aaron Donald, he's going to be first round because we want Kelsey, he's going to go in. We want all the Swifties. We need 29 million girls in the crowd with their iPhones. That's the Hall of Fame. But now, so who?
They'll show up at the game. I don't know if they'll show up at Canton.
Of course, just to get a glimpse, they will. Who does Zach Martin start over at 1995?
A Super Bowl team?
Yeah, Super Bowl team. Their Super Bowl team, 1995. Who does Zach Martin start over then?
It don't matter to you because you got the right answer, right?
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you. It's turned into a comedy station. I'm asking you.
I'm still starting Zach Martin.
At what position?
I will start him over Nate Newton. Okay, this is what I'm saying, bro. Okay, I know you like to ramble and go different directions so people will forget your point. Okay, because you never make one. So I'm gonna come back to you. Okay, I'm saying Zach Martin is a top 3 all-time Cowboys offensive lineman, and you're telling me he wouldn't start over anybody on the Super Bowl champion teams is not a true statement.
I gave the 1992 team a nod. He would have, not the 93 and 95.
Okay, well, that's your opinion, and my opinion is different.
Okay, it's perfect. But
All right.
also
So-
saying that, Miles
That's
Garrett's
a
better,
scheduled
TJ
program.
Watt's better, all these guys. And to get back to Nate Newton, I've seen Nate Newton level Charles Haley when he played on San Fran. I see Nate Newton destroy Jerome Brown, who should be in the Hall of Fame, but he died in a car accident.
But the Hall of Fame don't matter, remember? It don't matter.
I see
You said
Nate
the Hall of Fame
Newton.
don't matter.
I saw Nate Newton. I'll tell you what. I'll do you what. You could buy a whole new set of Michigan shirts. I'll bet you $1,000. I will iPad it. I will send it to Cowboys Corner, $1,000 tonight. If you can show me 5 clips of Zach Martin, because when I think of first ballot Hall of Famer, I want to see you taking future all pros, because everyone basically that Zach Martin played against are not eligible for the Hall of Fame. But I'll bet you $1,000 to show me 5 videos, 5 clips of Zach Martin ever ragdolling a guy, taking him 5-6 yards down the field and dumping him. The floor is yours. I'll Apple pay him $1,000 right now. Your call.
So how can I show you on somebody else's show?
No, I'll send my $1,000. I'll send my $1,000.
Hey, hold on.
All I have to do right now is Google Zach Martin highlights, and the first 5 fucking plays is gonna be pancakes. So
Against no. I said future Hall of Famers.
That's bullshit. You take half of it, Mike. Send me the other 500.
No, you're talking out your ass. I said he has to be playing. He has to be playing. He has to be playing. He had to do those to a Hall of Famer.
Time out. Guys, you are on the corner of Crazy and Cowboys. This is Talking Crazy. We are back in the studio right here.
Hell yeah.
We got Freaky Friday in the house. We got Eshawn. We got the Cowboy Huddle podcast with G Ham, the #1 Cowboy fan. We got another member of the Cowboy Huddle podcast and Freaky Friday and Daddy Savage. We got the big fella with the Cowboy Up podcast with Mikey and Mondo and the big hitters over there with Rue.
Formerly of the Cowboy Huddle. Don't forget that.
And formerly of the Cowboy Huddle. And then we got Mike, the best moderator and gifter of the channel right here, guys. This
Hell
is
yeah,
Crazy
yo.
on the corner of Crazy and Cowboys. All right. So we got to change the subject, betting money and doing all. It's not that serious, guys. It's just opinions. All right, let's
I have no idea where
let's get into the last
I want my
let's get into the last topic here, guys. Let's get into the last topic.
Let's do it, man.
I want my money.
The last topic is whatever you want it to be, Eshawn.
Man.
What do you want to bring to the show? What you got a topic? You got any questions? What are you projecting? What you got? Talk to me.
No, the only thing, look, I'm going to sound like I'm preaching to the choir and I'm saying the same things again and again, but at this point, this is just what it is for me. I love all the optimism that all you guys are bringing. We're all Dallas. At the end of the day, we're all Dallas Cowboy fans, so we got to keep in perspective that, like, listen, it ain't that serious. It ain't that big a deal. We're all Cowboy fans at the end of the day. At this point, we have absolutely. This is the one thing we all got to realize. Not all of us on here, but Cowboy fans in general. We have no control over this football team, guys. We're just fans at the end of the day. So we can come up here and say, "Oh, we're going to do this, that, and the third." Doesn't mean it makes for a great show. Like Talking Crazy, I fucking love it. And for the past hour, I had no idea where the show went, and I'm laughing at it. It's awesome, but we just have no control of it. So I just want to say that. But for me, I'm going to continue to say the same thing that I'm absolutely wanting to give Schottenheimer a shot. We have no choice but to give him a shot anyway, and I have no reason to say anything negative about him. But at the same time, right now, I can't say anything that I'm optimistic or positive about. Just because we haven't seen up until we see it on the field, I can't put my faith in anything with this team because personally, as a fan, I have been burned too many times. I haven't even seen a championship in my life, and I'm sick and tired of not seeing a championship.
Same.
So I'll be 28 in November.
Oh.
Porter and I are both Scorpions, man. But it's
Scorpio power.
and I have not seen a Super Bowl in my lifetime, and I'm sick and tired of that shit. And it's annoying. It's frustrating. It's annoying. I'm sick and tired of not having seen a championship with the team that I love. But I just think we at least I love this team with all my heart, but I just cannot. I've been burned too many times, man, and I just have to. I'm at the point, Frank, candidly, where unless they show me something consistently, if we end up going 12-5, I'll be happy. I'll love it. If we make a championship, I'll be happy. But as of now, I'm not gonna. I don't do any of the predictions or anything. But I'm just at the point where I have to see it to believe it on any aspect of this team, and so I'm interested to see the way the season will play out. I think we also got to realize it's a completely blank slate of a season. So we have a new head coach, we have a new defensive coordinator, so it's a completely blank slate from top. And so that's, you know what I mean? So I think I'm interested to see what Schottenheimer brings to the table, whether he will run the ball like he's saying he's going to run the ball, whether Eberflus is going to, improve this defense the way that corner. I know you think he's going to improve this defense. I absolutely am very curious and optimistic about that, but let's see. I'm literally that's just it for me. Let's see what happens, but well, hopefully it all pans out for the best. That's the only thing I can really say.
G Hampton, the number one sports fan.
Yeah, man. Woo! I think next Saturday I'm going to hand out red cups to everyone.
Hell
Big
yeah.
fella, you know how we used to do it. Yeah, everybody going to have solo cups next Saturday. Anyway, so let me talk about this, man. Let me talk about this, and I talked about this on my podcast this morning. But I want to bring something. I want to see what you guys think about this. So, and I know we all been saying, and I was one that said it. I was one that said it. I said that Deuce Vaughn's story was a beautiful story. Okay, now let me just bring this up, and I want you guys to elaborate on it. So we know Deuce Vaughn came from Kansas State. Kansas State was probably one of the top-ranked schools when he was there as far as rushing. Okay, he started his year with 645 yards. He came back with 1,400 yards, then 1,500 yards. So this kid was doing his thing, and I understand why y'all probably say, "Well, why are we talking about Deuce?" But I'm going somewhere with this. Now let's talk about who was his coach at the time. Connor Riley.
Yeah.
Connor Riley was the coach at the time. And I'm going somewhere with this. So now we look at Clayton Adams. Clayton Adams was with the Cowboys as well. And
what?
Clayton Adams, when he was with Arizona, who did he have at the running back? James Conner. Wasn't a real big running back, but he was a shifty scat back. And if you look at all these running backs that we do have on this team, pretty much majority of them are scat backs. But I say that to say this. Who on this team knows Connor Riley's scheme better than Deuce Vaughn? So my question is, do you think Connor Riley will go to bat for Deuce Vaughn, knowing that what he done at Kansas State? Now, I know it's probably a hypothetical question, but again, think about this.
Who do you want to go first? Whenever you get done, to say whoever you want to go first. Go ahead.
And I just want you to think about it. So let me ask you, do you think Connor Riley keeps Deuce Vaughn, or is there a place for Deuce Vaughn, or do you say that story is over? We can start with Mike down below. Let's start with Mike. What do you think about that? Knowing that Connor Riley now is here with Dallas, and knowing what Deuce Vaughn did in the past at Kansas State, do we keep Deuce Vaughn, or was it still just a beautiful story?
To be honest, I think it was just a beautiful story. The problem with Deuce Vaughn is he's very undersized. And I just don't think we know how to use a player like Deuce Vaughn. Yeah, to be honest, I think it was just not. I think it was nothing more than just a feel-good story. And let's just be honest: if Deuce Vaughn's dad was not working for the Cowboys, I don't think Deuce Vaughn would be on the team right now. That's kind of my take on it.
And you're right, Mike. But again, now he did. Can we say it was? Is it fair to say that he just didn't fit Mike McCarthy's system, because you're trying to take a 5'6", 174-pound running back and run him up the A gap? I mean, who does that? Now, when you look at Connor Riley's scheme and you look at Clayton Adams, it's more of a stretch. It's more of a screen passes. So that's why I think it may work in his favor. So, but again, I understand what you're saying, but it's just a question I'm asking, knowing that Connor Riley is here. So, big fella, what do you think?
I think it's both though. I think it's because his dad's here, but I agree with you on the coaching change. I was a fan of the Deuce pick, but I just thought Mike McCarthy just used him terribly. It just seems like he give him the ball 1-2 times a game, and then he's deactivated the next game. I mean, because we never really got a sense of what Deuce can really do in a game because he was behind Zeke and he was behind Rico, and then they tried to bring Dalvin Cook and he was always deactivated. So how can we say what Deuce can do if we don't never see Deuce? So I know a lot of people say he's a wasted roster spot. I don't know how. It's a lot of people on the 53 that don't play or are inactive. So you don't say they're wasted. My whole thing is give them the ball and see.
Yeah. Danny, what do you think, Danny?
Was the coach you're talking about, was he at Kansas State last year also?
Yeah.
Check out the stats DJ Glennon's put out. 6'1", 220. We could have had him this year, but we didn't. Listen, I agree with you, man. Deuce in college, he was phenomenal. Very shifty. He had hips. Wasn't the biggest player. But he had speed, and it's amazing that sometimes what you see in college, it just sometimes don't transfer over into the pros. I agree with you. Said it's dumb to run him up the middle, but hey, when we paid Tony Pollard his $10 million to get healthy, all we did was run him up the middle.
Yeah.
I would say get him out in space, try to throw him a ball, but man, I just think, me personally, this is just me. I think Maffa's the number one back and Blue is this change of pace because that's how, or Javonte Williams, that's how it should be. It should be a big bruiser and then a scat back. And you can, if you get Lumpke, I honestly would rather have Deuce Vaughn on the team than Hunter Lumpke, to be honest with you. The fullback has been phased out of football. But I mean, but we're getting back to what I say too. You're never going to see someone's prime unless you see them with the ones. So when you see these guys playing, if you see Deuce Vaughn playing with the threes in preseason games, we're not going to, you want to see his best, put him with the ones. That's just my opinion.
What do you think, Eshawn?
I personally think, I'm with Mike, honestly. I think it was a feel-good story. I mean, listen, man. And I just frankly don't think the Cowboys know how to use a player like him. That isn't to say that he doesn't have the talent. I'm not going to go that far. But granted, it might have been McCarthy, but in the 2 seasons he's been here, he's netted a total of 110 yards total, 40 carries. That's pretty bad. So I did, you know what I mean? And so, yeah.
But the big fella said the same thing. It just they rarely used him. He never. Yeah. But now he's with a system that he's familiar with. This running game is going to be totally different. I can really attest to that it's going to really be different. So Cowboys going to Mike. What do you think about that question?
Yeah, 100%. So I'm going to take you back. December 2023, Cowboys versus Lions. Jimmy Johnson inducted to the Ring of Honor, AT&T Stadium. The only 2 running backs on the team at the time starting was, and I was at that game. This is why this is so imprinted in my memory, was Tony Pollard and Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn, I got to see in the back of the end zone as I was sitting there, so I got to see a lot of Deuce Vaughn in those reps. The NFL and the college, the NFL is a tick faster versus college. Yeah. And so when you look at Deuce Vaughn and you look at those mighty little legs, they're moving fast, but he's not getting anywhere. And you could try to move him to the outside, moving east to west. You can try to get him north to south. The NFL is just too fast for his style. There's only been one running back and he was an inch taller, and that's Darren Sproles, to try to do what Deuce Vaughn can do. And Darren Sproles played special teams. If Darren Sproles didn't play special teams, he wouldn't be in the NFL as long as he was. His best year combined catching and running was only 800 yards. That was his best year in Darren Sproles. So Deuce Vaughn, and this might sound, ironic, but it's too tall for him. It really is too tall for him. He will not translate to the NFL. It's not. The odds are so much against him. It's time to move on. We got the likes, we got the retweets, we got the story out. We went viral. That was his moment. That was his career moment. Him going viral, not doing anything on the field.
Okay. And that's just a question, because I put that together. I said, well, damn, Cooper Riley is with Dallas. Who better knows the scheme than Deuce Vaughn? But,
No, yeah, it was good. It was a good question. Thank you for doing that. Danny Savage.
What's up? What's up?
You got a topic for the show? Or are you going to give final thoughts?
Final thoughts, just, everybody just has to stay healthy, don't get in trouble, and wait till training camp starts. I can't get excited over helmets and shorts. Everybody looks good in helmets and shorts. So just like I said, nobody get in trouble, nobody get hurt, and pray for the best, but be prepared for the worst. It's like Eshawn said, me and a lot of my friends that are my age.
That's for me.
We checked out. I'm being honest with you, because the Joneses don't want to win, man. They just want to make money, and it shows. But us, the fans, it's sad when when Dallas was down like 20-0 at halftime versus Green Bay. You saw Jimmy Johnson, man. Jimmy Johnson's like close to 80 years old, and he gave a more fiery speech than I guarantee you McCarthy or every single player in that locker room did. He gave out a fiery speech. That's something you can't coach. That's not something that can be made. That's something that can only come from inside your heart. But it's sad when the fans care more than the people that run the organization. It's just like I said, Cowboys Chris. I apologize. I come off this way. It's just like I bleed blue and silver, bro, and that's why I have a draft channel. I don't talk Dallas. I do, but I'm just
all right.
I'm good.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Savage. Big fella, you got a topic, or you got final thoughts?
Final thoughts, man. It's always good. It's been exactly over a year and a half that me and G, the number one Cowboy fan, has actually been on the same screen together, and it felt good to be on the screen with G, man. Much love to the Godfather. I call him the Godfather because if it wasn't for G, the big fella wouldn't be doing no kind of podcast. He called me one day, hey, man, you want to jump on the show? Let's talk about a little Cowboy football. He fucking did it. So thank you, G, for that. All right. My final thoughts is, where do I send the video? I want my money.
Okay. We'll stay.
But you have to realize, though, he has to be pancaking all pros and future All of Famers.
We keep changing this shit.
No, that's what I said. If you can find me 5 videos of Zach Martin ragdolling and driving him 5 yards down and putting him on his back.
All right, can I say this? Can I say this? I've been winning these bets lately on these prognostications on YouTube. A kid bet me on Sneaky G show. He bet me $500 that the Commanders was going to win the East. He paid. New York Giants fan told me, I bet you such and such that the Giants to do this, $100. He paid. You bet me $1,000. Are you sure you want this bet or not? Because
absolutely. Because you have to find me him. You have to find me him finding someone who's in the Hall of Fame now that he has.
Yeah.
Time out.
Honestly, you really have to wait about a year or two, but because he's not going to be eligible. He's not eligible, or the guys he's played against ain't eligible for 5 years.
But you said all pros, right? So
Yeah.
if they made the all pro list, that it counts. All he has to do is find 5 clips of him doing it to 5 all pros, because they make an all pro list every year.
I said all pro and Hall of Fame. I said that. And I've said that clearly a million times on a million shows. I've had this bet out for 3+ years. No one will take it.
But you can't get the result for 2 years. That's a crazy. Not even 2 years. It would have to be 5+ years.
It's like Bigfoot. It's like Maxi Pad and all the stuff you did at Michigan, but it's never on screen.
Hey.
Okay. Mike,
you ever talk about the winningest college football team in the history? 1,014 wins, brother. You cheer for who you cheer, and I cheer for Big Blue every day. Go fucking
I like
Blue.
Michigan. So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you one question.
Oh,
In the
okay.
last 3 years, who is Michigan's best defensive tackle? Last 3 years.
all right, bye, G. Thanks for coming on.
The last 3 years, the best defensive tackle was drafted this year.
Smart
Graham.
man. I agree with you 1,000%. 1,000%. Smart man. You got a kid, Derek Moore. I like this year a lot.
All right, hold on. We got to get Mike. Mike, you got a final topic, or you got final closing, or you got a final topic?
Absolutely. I'm glad to be on here. My apologies for being kind of antsy earlier, but kind of mellowed down, but yeah, so let me think about this. Oh man, I'm getting antsy again. But yeah, so but yes. But I don't really have any final thoughts, but bottom line is,
You got it, brother. You got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
I'm so sorry.
No, don't even apologize.
I was calming down, man. So the final thoughts is, I'm glad to be on here. I'm gonna try to join these streams more often. Hopefully, I'll get out of this antsiness by doing that. So the final thoughts are we need to extend Micah. That's definitely something we have to do, and if we trade for a defensive tackle, I could see us being decent, but at the end of the day, I don't see us making it past the second round of the playoffs. We might not even get that far. This is the Cowboy cycle. We make the playoffs, or we miss the playoffs, or if we make the playoffs, we'll choke in the first or second rounds. We'll see what happens, hopefully things will go well with this team, and that's all I can say about that. My apologies again for being antsy.
No, you don't. There's no need to apologize. So I'll tell you this, Mike, and maybe this makes you feel better, maybe it won't. 11 years ago, in a few months, DeMarcus Ware got released. I put the laptop on my lap, I turned on the camera, and I made a video. You think that was a one-take video? I had to do that video like 5 times, and I almost didn't post it. Catch Up 2011 was the original name, and then it became Dallas Cowboy Football News, and it came Cowboys Corner. Catch Up 2011 wouldn't existed if I didn't post that video, because how many times I had to redo it and redo it and redo it and redo it, and I almost gave up, but I did it, and it's still up there 11 years later, and things got easier. Things got a lot easier. So you keep coming on the lives, it's going to get easier. It took me a year to get comfortable even talking to a camera by myself. That was the weirdest thing in the world. Mike, I understand. Antsy is human nature, and we've all been there, whether that's a job interview, whether that's meeting going on the first date, whether that's meeting a new girl, anything in life. We're going to get antsy. It's part of life. And I tell you, Mike, right now, you did fantastic tonight. Great job.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate that. Really appreciate all of you a lot.
Absolutely. So, guys, this was Talking Crazy on the corner of Crazy and Cowboys. I want a big shout out to Eshawn Savage, G. Hampton, Big Fella, Mike. Mike also gave a super chat. Want to give a big thank you to him. All the moderators in there. Brando, the best moderator in the game, sharing all the links, guys. If you watch us on the replay, again, it's Freaky Friday with Eshawn and Savage. It was G. Hampton with the Cowboy Huddle podcast. Big Fella with the Cowboy Up podcast. Guys, subscribe to all these guys. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Click the like button on the replay. There was like this channel and 3 other channels streaming it. Click like, share the video on any platform that you've been watching. Guys, it's great to see you guys. It's good to be back here on Talking Crazy. I might be back Saturday. I might not. It's a crazy schedule for Talking Crazy. Peace.
Who's Cowboys Up? You? I'll sub to your channel. Who's
I'm Cowboy Up.
What do you think of Rod Moore? You think he's going to see the season or no?
According just left his own stream and it's live still. Fifth did that once too, Savage. I don't know if you remember that.